McShin Foundation is Virginia's leading peer-to-peer recovery organization. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, let us get you connected. We can help you build a solid foundation through recovery. Here at the McShin Foundation, we are committed to healing families and saving lives.
All right, thank you so much. Tonight, we celebrate partnerships as we work for solutions around our community's crisis of substance use conditions. I'm going to talk about how a person-first approach to everything from a conversation with somebody who's suffering from a substance use condition to our approaches to treatment and even to writing policy can reduce stigma and remind us that substance use conditions are highly treatable and that recovery is probable if person-first treatment and support is provided. Stigma is a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, and our greatest weapon against stigma is seeking to understand and making choices, thus avoiding habitual approaches to how we discuss and address substance use conditions. We can choose one thought over another. We can choose one word or phrase over another, using person-first language, like referring to a loved one, or a colleague, or a client, or a patient, as a person with a substance use condition. Whether in recovery, or supporting those in recovery, or suffering from a substance use condition, we can each live a self-directed life instead of letting habit run the show. To talk with our loved ones and our colleagues and our community members about seeing a person with a substance use condition as a person first, rather than using labels that shame and blame. When we stigmatize, we ignore complex factors that contribute to substance use conditions. Traumatic life events like adverse childhood experiences, mental health concerns, genetics, epigenetics, and an individual's complex and unique circumstances. In making sure we define substance use conditions as highly treatable processes, and making sure we understand that recovery is a process where individuals strive to reach their full potential, to live a self-directed life, we can ensure that each of our community members lives their best life. By taking a person-first approach, we understand that while nobody should have to recover alone, everybody recovers differently. Perhaps then, if we zoom out and we learn a lesson from those in recovery, we can take a person-first approach to how we work towards solutions around our crisis of substance use conditions. We can look around tonight and see that different people and different organizations can do their work, can play their role in addressing our crisis, and can stand side by side, moving forward together. If people recovering differently can recover together, each with unique lived experiences and goals, and we can foster social connectedness rather than social isolation, can we then foster side-by-side approaches to addressing our substance use disorder crisis? If our perceptions, our approaches, our treatment modalities, and even our policies around substance use conditions can span a spectrum, can coexist with equity, can we learn then to take a person-first look at how we can stand together, move forward together, but with many different approaches, through partnerships, each addressing a different aspect of our crisis? Some people will fiercely work on abstinence-based treatment modalities. Others of us will work on providing access to medications that support the recovery process. Others will promote life-saving harm reduction approaches like syringe services, testing and linkage to treatment for infections related to injection drug use. Others to bring naloxone to our communities, and still others to support children, adolescents, women, pregnant women, our families, our LGBTQ community members, those who struggle with housing and transportation and other resources, and also to support those who have loved ones who are struggling with a substance use condition. Some of our colleagues in recovery will recover out loud, and I love the often quoted image that people who recover out loud emerge from the fire carrying buckets of water for those who are still consumed by that fire. And others will advocate a little differently, as people who have perhaps lived in a world that was not so kind to them, but who have refused to be hardened by everything they've faced, and who perhaps advocate quietly for those who still struggle. Acknowledging that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to substance use conditions means that we can work in solidarity while providing support in a spectrum of different ways. Accepting that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to each person's recovery process, and no one-size-fits-all approach to how we address substance use conditions in our communities might just be the key to a kindness-based, person-first approach. And perhaps all of this work that we're doing in partnerships represents a deep understanding of how connected we all are, despite our varied experiences and our various approaches to living our lives and to making change. Just as people with substance use conditions from all walks of life can heal together in fellowship, through peer support services, through listening and holding space and sharing and learning from one another, all of us here, each advocating through a slightly different approach, each of us with a different expertise, maybe a different perspective, working from within numerous different partnering organizations, can stand side by side, shoulder to shoulder, taking one step forward together at a time, working differently, but in solidarity, honoring what each of us brings as partners in this work to heal our communities and to meet our community members where they are and by honoring who they are. The partners that I see in this room are numerous, each contributing in their own way. And there are far too many to name all of them, but I do want to thank Paige Roth and Gail Pitsko, who led the team from the LVHN Opioid Stewardship and Linkage to Treatment Committee in planning this evening around town. We're so grateful for our county drug and alcohol authorities, for Lane Turner, a true visionary in the development of community partnership, to our many community partners like Pyramid, with whom we partner in our Connections program for pregnant women and women with children, and our MAT programs here in Allentown, as well as in some of our northern tier sites. Mars, who staffs our Lehigh County SCA-funded hospital opioid support team. Our Centers of Excellence here in Allentown. Neighborhood Centers of the Lehigh Valley, Treatment Trends. CVS, with whom we continue to partner on education and outreach. Our colleagues in Health Spectrum Pharmacy, who help support the logistics of our Lehigh County first responder and our hospital and naloxone programs. Our colleagues at EMS and fire and law enforcement and our district attorney's office. And our network leaders, some of whom are here tonight, Drs. McCambridge, Candio, Stevens, and so many others, who provided support not only for tonight's event, but also for the ongoing work in this area. Thank you all for being here to celebrate our partnerships in moving our communities towards social connectedness and healing, to provide each of us with a sense of purpose and belonging, and to break down the root causes of crisis in our beloved communities. Thank you for standing together tonight as we step forward, one step at a time, to become a community where each of us can live a fulfilling and meaningful life. Thank you for being here.